when we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
Well, I'll start with this.
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering. America! Welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to This Week in DUMBmocracy, where we showcase some of the dumbest news makers of the week. We knew it was coming. Sooner or later, it had to show up eventually. Kamala Harris appeared for a softball interview with the Philadelphia affiliate for ABC News, and in response to some relatively easy questions, she served up a huge helping of a tossed word salad. You gotta watch this one to believe it, folks. But before we get to it all, I'm going to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other shows. And if you like what you're seeing here in this or any other video on the channel, you know what to do already. You're going to smash that thumbs up button. Like, comment, share the show with your friends. All that really, really good stuff. Because all that's going to help out the channel via the YouTube algorithm.
Feed me Seymour.
And by the way, all you guys on Rumble, Odyssey, and BitChute, I see you guys too. Thanks so much for all that you do to help grow the channel as well. I really appreciate everybody's efforts. And if you're a newbie watching on any platform whatsoever, I hope this video earns your subscription as we talk about this interview that Kamala Harris held that really confirmed what we've known about her already. That when left off her leash, Kamala Harris has nothing to offer but platitudes and empty rhetoric. Harris sat down for her first solo interview as the Democratic designee for president. Remember, gang, we don't call her the nominee around these parts. We've covered many, many times how Harris and the Democratic Party and the DNC forced Joe Biden under the bus, got him out from the position of nominee, had him withdraw in order for Harris to be installed. So after the first presidential debate, she sat down with Philadelphia-based Action News 6. It's an ABC affiliate there, with their anchor, Brian Taft. Now, this was a relatively softball interview. Brian Taft did not break any new ground. There were no gotcha questions here, and you had to think the Harris campaign kind of knew what was coming at them. Yet Harris still went off on a series of cringe-worthy rants during this 11-minute interview, which, by the way, is linked in the description below.
At the debate the other night, you talked about creating an opportunity economy. I wonder if we can drill down on that a little bit. When we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
Again, a totally expected question. In fact, it sort of mirrors the question that Kamala Harris got during the first presidential debate. So you would think that Harris would be ready to expound and expand upon that answer with some concrete details about what this opportunity economy, quote unquote, actually means.
Well, I'll start with this. I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother raised my sister and me. She worked very hard. She was able to finally save up enough money to buy our first house when I was a teenager. I grew up in a community of hardworking people, you know, construction workers and nurses and teachers, and I try to explain to some people who may not have had the same experience, you know, but a lot of people will relate to this. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn.
What is she talking about?
She's totally ignoring the question and going off on some scripted narrative about how she grew up. I haven't fact-checked it, guys. If you want to fact-check it, feel free to go right ahead. And I'm just trying to see where we're going with this. This rambling introduction has nothing to do with the question that was put forth here. What do you mean by opportunity economy? We didn't ask for your background, your life story here, your narrative. What does an opportunity economy mean? She didn't answer it at the debate. She's not answering it right now either.
You know? And,
You know?
And I was raised to believe and to know that all people deserve dignity. And that we...
What is she doing here? What what does this have to do with the economy you're going to create? By the way, you've screwed up the economy as part of the Biden-Harris administration, right? We've seen inflation and consumer price indexes go through the roof. Everybody's paying more to get less. So what are you going to do about it? I don't want to hear about how you grew up or how your lawn was or anything like that. Get to it already.
As Americans have a beautiful character. You know, we have ambitions and aspirations and dreams, but not everyone necessarily has access to the resources that can help them fuel those dreams and ambitions.
Yeah, and part of the reason that is because you were a part of the administration that saw out of control inflation, prices going up multiple percentage, the basics of life, food, gasoline, different sundry items are so expensive now that it's not keeping up with our wages, and you helped create that. We get what the problem is. We don't care about your history. We're now, what, a minute and 18 seconds into this clip totally? And we haven't gotten an answer yet. Just answer the damn question, please.
So when I talk about building an opportunity economy,
Finally!
it is very much with the mind of investing in the ambitions and aspirations and the incredible work ethic of the American people.
Empty platitude, okay, but at least we're finally getting around back to the question. We've finally circled back around towards the question, I guess. We're finishing the lap that Kamala Harris put us on here. So it's investing in dreams and aspirations. Nothing concrete just yet. Maybe we'll get there.
And creating opportunity for people, for example, to start a small business.
Creating opportunity. It's an opportunity economy. We're going to create opportunity. How? How exactly are you going to create opportunity? Can we get to something beyond your introductory statements? Can we get to some substance? How do you plan on doing that? We've heard things at the debate about $25,000 for down payment for a house. We've heard about $50,000 in investment for new businesses. And that's all well and good. We don't know where the money's going to be coming from or how we're going to raise that money or what we're taking away from spending to put into this. We have all these grandiose numbers flying around from the debate. Is that where we're going here?
My mother, worked long hours, and our neighbor helped raise us. We used to call her, I still call her, our second mother.
What's after the question?
I don't care. I don't care about your second mother. We all have our stories, and there's a time and place for that. This is not one of those times. We heard about it at the DNC. We heard about it at the debate. We don't need to hear it again. We just want you to answer the question here. Please, the American people are hurting. We're all hurting. We want to know if there's going to be a solution provided by government to help us reach those aspirations and dreams that we all have. Get on with it.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it. Get on with it.
She was a small business owner. I love our small business owners. I learned who they are from my childhood, and she was a community leader. She hired locally. She mentored.
We're back to the story. We're now a minute and 56 seconds into this clip. She still hasn't answered the question yet. But, we're talking about second mothers and I love small businesses and all that. Great. Answer the fucking question.
Language.
Our small businesses are so much a part of the fabric of our communities, not to mention, really, I think, the backbone of America's economy. So my opportunity economy plan includes giving startups a $50,000 tax deduction to start their small business. It used to be $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. But investing in people's innovative ideas and giving them the ability to go for it.
Okay, so we've heard that before. We finally got some semblance of an answer. And we've heard this before at debates and at stump speeches and things like that. I think we might have heard about it in the CNN interview. I'm not exactly sure, but I know we've heard it before. We don't know where we're getting this increase of money that we can provide to small businesses. There's no sourcing of the money changing from $5,000 to $50,000. Where's that extra $45,000 per business coming from? We just know that it's supposedly going to show up somehow and help out small businesses. By the way, how do we decide which is a viable small business? How do we know that it isn't a viable small business? What is the criteria? What are the parameters for such a program? Is it going to be based upon who is operating the business? Is it going to be for women? Is it going to be for minorities? Is it going to be for female minorities? Is it going to be for everyone across the board? We don't know these things. I was hoping we'd get an answer to knowing these things, but I don't know if that's forthcoming. I'm eternally hopeful that it would be, so let's keep going.
Opportunity economy means, look, we don't have enough housing in America. We have a housing supply shortage. And what that means, in particular for so many younger Americans, the American dream is elusive. It's just actually not attainable. So part of my plan is to work with the private sector and housing developers to give them a tax credit, to be able to partner with us as the government to build, and my goal is 3 million new homes by the end of my first term.
We've heard that answer before.
Okay, we've heard this before, that she wants to build houses and give a tax credit to home builders in order to build more homes. And she mentioned partnering with the government. Does that mean that the government is going to tell the business where they want the houses built? Why, if they don't want to build houses there? Again, not a lot of detail. In fact, no detail coming from Kamala Harris in this particular question.
In addition, to help people who just want to get their foot in the door, literally, and so giving first-time home buyers a $25,000 down payment assistance.
And we've heard that as well in the past, and my position on that, I think I made it pretty clear, but if I haven't, let me say it right now. If you give $25,000 to homeowners and give them more income to use to buy a home, guess what the sellers are going to do? They're going to jack up their prices to get that additional $25,000 and still get the value of their home and get beyond that. We've seen it, perfect example, in our education loans. When we give out loans for education, what did colleges and universities do? They jacked up the price because now the federal government was starting to put money in people's hands for that. And the colleges and universities, they took that money very graciously while keeping the prices higher, increasing their own profits and making it harder for students getting out of school to pay off these exorbitant loans. Giving away free money is a misnomer. There is no such thing as free money. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Someone always ends up paying. So if we're going to be giving first-time home buyers $25,000 through Fannie or Freddie or whatever mechanism it's going to be, you're going to see those prices go up and you're going to see taxes go up to cover that money for these people getting it, quote-unquote, for free. Again, not a lot of details, the same platitudes, the same 18% of a plan that we're used to seeing from Kamala Harris. It's barely a plan. It's not even a PLA, in my opinion.
To be able to just get in the door, and then they will do the work that they need to do to save and to pay that mortgage and to build wealth for themselves and their family.
And then you just go back to work to pay off everything else. That's what we're doing today, but prices are going up astronomically. We're having supply chain issues under the Biden-Harris administration. We had that in the past couple of years. We're seeing energy prices going up. We've seen them coming down because, of course, it's now a presidential year. But we've seen this fluctuation of prices to the point where everyday Americans were working hard, like Americans do, but we're still getting sucked dry, having less accessible income, less disposable income than we had under, President Trump. There's no detail of any plan here. We've let the answer go forward. There's no detail about the specifics of how we're going to get this done. Nothing specific about inflation, bringing that down. Nothing specific about job growth and income growth, wages growth. Nothing in this opportunity economy except I'm going to give you free shit that you're going to spend and give to somebody richer than you, and then you're just going to have to work hard. What kind of fucking plan is that? Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show.
You talked at the debate and at previous appearances about turning the page on the past. And in fact, here today in Johnstown, you're talking about a new way forward.
Yeah.
I think some people have a question, given maybe your current role as Vice President of the United States, how different you are from Joe Biden. And so I wonder if there are one or two spots, policy areas or approaches where you would say, I'm a different person.
Another halfway decent question from Brian Taff here. I appreciate that he's given her an opportunity to say in her own words, what makes you different than Joe Biden? Because Republicans obviously are going to tie Harris to the Biden-Harris administration. And Harris is trying to distance herself from Joe Biden, talking about a new way forward. But like my co-host for Behind Enemy Lines, Ross Galloway, said, she doesn't like talking about her biggest job opportunity in her life being vice president. What did you do as vice president to help the American people in those 4 years? More importantly, what can you do now in the time you have left as vice president to sort of massage policy your way under the Biden-Harris administration to improve things for Americans, to improve their lives? So it's a totally fair question to ask, how is Kamala Harris's administration going to be different from a Joe Biden administration, especially in light of the fact that it appears that she adopted most of the talking points and most of the platform that Joe Biden was running under for re-election? Let's see if she has any sort of substantive, detailed answer, although I've lost hope of that happening a long time ago.
Well, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
Duh.
And, you know, I offer a new generation of leadership. And so, for example, thinking about developing and creating an opportunity economy where it's about investing in areas that really need a lot of work.
That was a lot of words. A lot of words.
Did you get anything out of that initial part of the answer? Was there anything of substance there that convinced you, oh yeah, she's got her stuff together here, she knows what she's talking about, and she has a plan that's going to be effective? It's a bunch of empty platitudes, a new way forward, things that need a lot of work. Like what? What is the new approach? How are you approaching things differently than Joe Biden, than Donald Trump? How are you going to chart this new way forward? What are your targets in your plan? What areas of concern are there? Give us something to think about here.
And maybe focusing on, again, the aspirations and the dreams, but also just recognizing that at this moment in time, some of the stuff we could take for granted years ago, we can't take for granted anymore.
Like what? This is why I call it word salad. It is empty calories of political speech. She is dancing all around the question because she probably, in my opinion at least, doesn't have a plan.
I have a plan. You've got a plan. I have part of a plan. What percentage? I don't know. 12%. 12%?
She has no way of differentiating between herself and Joe Biden. I don't even know if she's put any thought into anything beyond buzzwords. Opportunity economy, dreams and aspirations. You can't pay the bills on platitudes, Madam Vice President.
For example, another plan that I have that is a new approach is to expand the child tax credit to $6,000 for young families for the first year of their child's life.
Okay, so giving away more free money. I'm noticing a pattern here. Kamala Harris wants to increase more money to a different population. Families who just had a baby and in their first year, they'll get more money than they normally get from the child tax credit. Great. Where's the money coming from? I'd like to know that. I think we'd all like to know that. Where's all this money coming from? This investment money for small businesses, the money for down payments for houses, now this increased tax credit. Where's all this coming from? Who's going to be paying for all of this? How do you raise the money to cover all these entitlements that you're coming up with? Inquiring minds would certainly like to know.
Because that is obviously a very critical stage of development of a child. And a lot of young parents need the help to buy a car seat or a crib or clothes for their kids. And
you know what we're having trouble buying right now? Food, formula, diapers, the basics of society, the basic staples that we all need to survive. Not just the babies. Don't get me wrong, babies are important, of course. But the basic staples that we all need to survive. The basic staples that we need, the necessary items we need to get to and from work, that we're having to work ourselves to the bone for and make less money, basically, than we have in previous administrations. Where is this going? This is like having a captain trying to read a map without being able to have the skill to read a map. Where is the skill here? Where is the policy making? I'm sure you have policy advisors. I'm sure you have smarter people than you, a lot of smarter people than you, in there that can tell you what we're going to be doing here. Is it all going to be based upon unrealized capital gains that you put forth that no economist and no business person that I've seen at least really takes seriously? Is it going to come from millionaires and billionaires because that's the socialist nature that you have? That's your mindset? Where is this coming from? Where are we going? What are you going to do besides give us empty words?
so my approach is about new ideas, new policies that are directed at the current moment. And also, to be very honest with you, my focus is very much in what we need to do over the next 10, 20 years.
But how? 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 You're not explaining. You have a vision. Great. I have a vision too. We all have visions. We all have dreams. We all have aspirations. How are you going to turn that into reality? And where are we going to get to by the time this becomes reality? Anything? I have had just about enough of talking about neighbors and lawns and dreams and aspirations. There is clearly a disconnect here between Kamala Harris and the American people. As much as she wants to claim that she is a middle-class person, I don't see her being concerned about middle-class concerns. I don't see her being concerned about any concerns. Or at least she doesn't have a plan. She has empathy, she has hope, she has vibes, but she doesn't have anything of substance here to talk about. We didn't hear anything about the economy and inflation. We didn't hear anything about how she wants to turn her dreams into reality, other than giving away free money, which, by the way, as I said before, is never free. Her answers are perfect examples of why Kamala Harris's handlers are so concerned about her doing interviews like this. She's not going to be able to give any real answers because she has no real answers. So she's going to ramble. She's going to go off on tangents. She's going to go off on story time, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things. But when she's asked about a basic question about the economy, she regurgitates the same bullshit, the same nonsense. At the best, and looking at this totally, and by the way, I only played a portion of this because I know your time is valuable. You can listen to the entire interview. I've linked it in the description of the video. At best, this was a very, I would say, disjointed showing. Is her empathy real? I'm not sure. Her whole facade seems like a manufactured image. It seems like she has a very vain self-image in how she wants to present and speak and enunciate, but it lacks understanding. And when left to her own devices, she has her script and she just repeats the lines over and over again like they were probably drilled into her. The problem is, we've gone beyond that time now. The honeymoon is over for Kamala Harris. She needs to start putting forth more than empty platitudes and aspirational thoughts about dreams and vibes and hope and whatnot. Well, listen, that's at least my opinion on this whole situation. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. And as always, like and share the show with your friends, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so we don't miss any other shows. Am I off base here? Am I being too hard on Kamala Harris? Is there some substance that you see that maybe I don't? Let me know in the comments. I'll be sure to talk to you about it. We'll have a nice discussion about this video and all the other shenanigans and buffoonery happening every day this week in DUMBmocracy.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.